Wait a sec. Who was the first person to wake up one day and say, all right, from now on we get up at 8 and work until 5 because the clock says so? Seriously now, where did this idea of measuring time come from? Who decided how long a second lasts? Why don't we have 100 seconds in a minute? Sounds rounder. The clock. The invention that wakes you up, controls your day, and makes you feel guilty for spending 4 hours on TikTok. Today, in the Kangaroo's Dilemma, that's me, we find out who invented the clock. And how did the person who invented it know what time it was? At first, people only knew about day and night. You worked during the day and slept at night. Also, they knew there was a cold season and a warm season. Basically, winter and summer. That was about it. The Egyptians, the pyramid folks, were among the first to want to measure time more seriously. They used a gnomon, a stick stuck vertically in the ground. Basically, the shadow of the stick showed them the hour. That's how they divided the day into 12 hours. Why 12? Just because they felt like it. We have 5 fingers on a hand. Each finger has 3 phalanges. If you look at your finger with the palm facing you, you'll see lines dividing the finger into 3 parts. They excluded the thumb and kept only 4 fingers. 4 fingers multiplied by 3 phalanges equals 12. Why exclude the thumb? Again, just because they felt like it. The day had 12 hours, they added 12 more for the night, and done. Problem? The gnomon worked only during the day. At night, it was pitch dark. Either you slept or guessed. For the night, the Egyptians invented the water clock. The clepsydra, a vessel where water flowed into another vessel at a constant rate. Time was measured by how much water drained. The Greeks said, "What, are we dummies?" They took the water clock and improved it. They even used it in courts to limit how long someone could speak. It was like an ancient stopwatch. In ancient China, people used marked candles. Candles with lines that burned at a steady rate. As they burned down, you knew how much time passed. Others had similar systems, but none were very precise. Okay, why 60 seconds and 60 minutes? It all starts with the Babylonians about 4,000 years ago. They used a sexagesimal numeric system, meaning base 60. Not base 10 like us. Why 60? Because it divides perfectly by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30. And it was ideal for astronomical calculations and precise divisions. The Babylonians laid the foundation of mathematics and astronomy. The Greeks took the system even further. They divided the circle into 360 degrees to measure the position of stars and the sun. Why 360? Because they felt like it. Or thought, hey, if we have 360 degrees, let's divide each degree into 60 minutes and each minute into 60 seconds. The clock is a circle, right? Let's take the 24 hours, like the Egyptians said, and add 60 minutes and 60 seconds. I know the system seems totally random. Well, it really is. But look, we're still using it today. In the year 996, Pope Sylvester II created the first mechanical clock. It still used the 24-60-60 system and was the most precise at the time. That's how clock towers appeared in cities. But not everywhere. They were hard to calibrate and could be off by 20 minutes, and honestly, nobody really cared what time it was. In 1583, when he was 19, Galileo Galilei was in a church and noticed that a swinging chandelier had the same period of swing regardless of how big the swing was. It didn't make him think of dancing, but physics. The kind you reluctantly learn at school. He didn't get to do much with this discovery, but in 1656, Christian Huygens invented the pendulum clock. It was incredibly precise. After a week, it was off by only 1 minute. Within 100 years, it was in everyone's homes. Now you could call someone at 8 o'clock. And they actually came at 8. That is, if they weren't blowing you off. People started to get paid by time, not just by result. Before, Wash 10 clothes, get paid. Now, work an hour, get paid. Even if you washed only 8 clothes, as they say, time goes by, paycheck comes. This led to the Industrial Revolution, but that's another episode. When trains appeared, each city had its own time. Ola clock was when the sun was at its highest point in the sky. One city was at 11, another at 11:30. American President Chester A. Arthur organized a meeting with 26 countries to decide what time it really is. The Brits said, "Hey, we have a fancy clock at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich." Everyone agreed. So here's what happened. We established the prime meridian, also called Meridian Zero. There are 24 time zones, ranging from -12 to +12. The Earth rotates 360 degrees in 24 hours. Dividing 360 by 24 gives us 15. That means for every 15 degrees you move east or west, the clock changes by 1 hour. If you're moving east, you add hours. If you're moving west, you subtract. From this system comes GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Today we use UTC, Coordinated Universal Time, which is almost the same but even more precise. It's measured with ultra-precise clocks. In 1900, it was discovered that a quartz crystal connected to an electric circuit vibrates 32,768 times per second. Just like the pendulum, but faster and more precise. Today, almost all clocks use quartz crystals. As you know, the year doesn't always last exactly the same. There are differences of a few seconds because of gravity, earthquakes, etc. We have leap years, leap seconds, etc. Digital clocks connected to the internet and satellites adjust everything, even those few seconds every year. Time is just a convention, but it still eats your life. So, next time you look at your clock and realize you spent 5 hours on Instagram, remember that it all started with some Egyptians who just followed a stick. If you have a dilemma, leave it in the comments. Maybe it'll be the next one I solve. Hopped.